The name of Amida as altar scroll. Shinran was apparently the first to place the written characters of the name of Amida in the altar. Different forms of the name were mounted as altar scrolls, not only the 6-character name, Namu Amida Butsu, generally used in the utterance of the Nembutsu, but also the 8-character name, Namu Fuka Shiji Ko Butsu, or I take refuge in the Buddha of inconceivable light. Also the 9-character name, Namu Fuka Shiji Ko Nyo Rai, or I take refuge in the Tathagata of inconceivable light. Or in the 10-character name, Ki Myo Jin Jip Po Mu Je Ko Nyo Rai, or I take refuge in the Tathagata of unhindered light filling the 10 quarters. In all cases, the altar scroll includes a depiction of a lotus flower immediately below the vertically written name. This flower acts as a pedestal, just as it would in a painting of the Buddha. We see then that the name was adopted in place of the painted image as well as the sculpted figure of the Buddha. This innovation was not necessarily a radical departure from traditional Buddhist practices, and probably did not impress Shinran's contemporaries as strikingly novel. Similar usage, such as the veneration of the Sanskrit letter, A, as a symbol for ultimate reality in Shingon, existed in other schools. Moreover, scriptures such as the Buddha Name Sutra provided a scriptural basis for giving expression to a Buddha through the use of written characters, and numerous examples of names of Buddhas carved in wood and stone survive. Concerning the name of Amida, there is the example of Honen's inscription of Namu Amida Butsu at the beginning of his major work, passages on the Nembutsu selected in the primal vow, as an expression of taking refuge in Amida Buddha. It is also important not to overlook the use of altar scrolls bearing the name in other Pure Land schools after Shinran, including the Ji school of Ippen, which later exercised strong influence on the early Shin temples. Nevertheless, Shinran's placement of the written name in the altar remains a remarkable and characteristic achievement. On the one level, the use of writing in the altar might seem to contradict efforts to bring the teaching within the grasp of ordinary people, such as his explanations of the scriptures in easily comprehensible language in his notes, or his translations and paraphrases of them in his hymns. In terms of pictorial representations, it is certainly a radical shift from the concrete to the abstract, especially when compared to the use of statues in other schools, such as Zen. The written characters, however, are particularly suited to manifesting a reality that is said to have name and form, Amida Buddha, but which is essentially beyond relative name and form, being identical with the nameless and formless Dharma body. The name of Amida is not simply a designation by which we identify the Buddha. It is that by which the Buddha makes himself known to beings. In its transcendence of objectified form, then, the written name is capable of expressing with greater immediacy the dynamic working of true compassion in the practicer. At the core of Shinran's teaching is the realization of Shinjin, which is the entrusting of ourselves to the Buddha's working. It is, in other words, to hear the origin and end of the primal vow and to accept it free of all doubt. Shinran teaches that this religious awakening is itself the working of the name of Amida, which embodies all the Buddha's wisdom and compassion directed to sentient beings. Apart from the name active within us through the fulfillment of the primal vow, there is no Amida. More specifically, Shinran states that Namu Amida Butsu is the Buddha's call to sentient beings to entrust themselves to the primal vow. Thus, in saying the name, quote, Namu means to take refuge. To take refuge is to respond to the command and follow the call of the 2 honored ones, Sakyamuni and Amida, close quote. Even among the various forms of the name, Shinran preferred for the altar the one which gives clearest expression to Amida's working. As Shinran's great-grandson Kakunyo 1270-1351 notes, quote, "The founding master, Shinran, purposely did not place in his altar the 10-jo 8 shaku high image based on the 8th of the 13th contemplative exercises, the contemplation of the image of Buddha taught in the Contemplation Sutra. Instead, he adopted for the altars of Shin Buddhists the words expressed in the gate of worship from Master Vasubandhu's treatise, quote, 'I take refuge in the Tathagata of unhindered light filling the 10 quarters.'" Close quote. Of the 7 surviving altar writings bearing Shinran's calligraphy, 5 hold the 10-character name. The name and 10 characters remain the principal form on altar scrolls down to Renyo's day. The spread of Shin Buddhism under Renyo sparked fierce criticism from Mount Hai's and Rakyuji, ostensibly for antinomian tendencies in the teaching, and in 1465 monks from Mount Hai destroyed Shinran's mausoleum, the forerunner of the Hongwanji temple in the eastern hills of Kyoto. Renyo appears to have changed from the 10-character name to the 6-character form, Namu Amida Butsu, after this incident. Perhaps because the word unhindered in the 10-character form has been seized upon as expressing the heresy of licensed evil. According to this belief, since no act is so evil it can obstruct the working of Amida's compassion, any hesitation to commit evil that one is led to by one's karma is a sign of insufficient trust in the primal vow.